First contact gone. Wrong Commander Vextor of the Galactic Dominion stood rigid on the command deck of his flagship, the Sovereign's Pride. His forearms crossed in a gesture of absolute confidence as he surveyed the tactical displays showing his armada of 30,000 warships. The crystalline being's translucent body pulsed with waves of satisfaction. Another primitive world awaited conquest. Intelligence reports indicated this small blue planet called Earth housed a species that had barely managed to land on their own moon. Their radio signals had only been detected for less than a century. This would be the easiest conquest in Dominion history. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Every species they encountered either submitted immediately or faced annihilation. There was no third option. Vextor had personally overseen the subjugation of 47 worlds. This would be his 48th. The humans, as they called themselves, possessed nuclear weapons but hadn't even established a permanent colony on another planet. Their military forces were divided among hundreds of separate nations. They still fought among themselves with chemical-propelled projectiles. It was almost embarrassing how primitive they were. Commander, his tactical officer, a gelatinous being from Proxima 7, vibrated nervously. We are approaching the outer boundary of their star system. Should we begin broadcasting the standard surrender demands? Vextor's crystalline form darkened with amusement. Not yet. Let them detect us first. I want to see the fear in their primitive communications when they realize what approaches. Begin passive scanning of their defensive capabilities. The fleet moved forward in perfect formation, a wall of metal and energy that had crushed civilizations far more advanced than these humans. As they passed the orbit of the planet humans called Neptune, something unexpected happened. A transmission came through on multiple frequencies, crystal clear despite the vast distance. Attention unidentified vessels. This is Captain Maria Rodriguez of Earth Space Command. You are entering sovereign human space. Please state your intentions and maintain your current position until diplomatic protocols can be established. The bridge crew erupted in various forms of laughter. The sounds ranged from the high-pitched whistling of the insectoid navigators to the deep rumbling of the silicon-based engineers. A single primitive vessel, barely visible on their sensors, was attempting to halt the advance of the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Vextor activated the communication system. Captain Rodriguez, I am Commander Vextor of the Galactic Dominion. Your species has been selected for integration into our empire. You will surrender all weapons, dismantle all military forces, and submit to Dominion rule. You have 12 of your hours to comply. Resistance will result in the complete sterilization of your world. There was a pause. Then Captain Rodriguez responded, and Vextor could swear he heard amusement in her voice. Commander Vextor, thank you for the advance notice. 12 hours should be more than sufficient. May I ask how many ships you've brought for this integration? 30,000 vessels, each capable of rendering your planet uninhabitable. Your primitive weapons cannot even scratch our hull plating. 30,000. That's all? Rodriguez's voice carried genuine disappointment. Well, I suppose it will have to do. Commander, I'm required by Earth protocols to offer you one opportunity to withdraw peacefully. We have no quarrel with the Galactic Dominion, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. The bridge fell silent. Then Vextor's crystalline body began resonating with laughter, a sound like wind chimes in a hurricane. You threaten us. Your entire species has fewer than 20 vessels capable of leaving your atmosphere. We have scanned your planet. You have no energy weapons, no shields, no faster-than-light capability. What could you possibly do against us? Commander, you're making assumptions based on incomplete data. But I understand. Every species does. Tell me, in your 10,000 years of conquest, have you ever encountered a species that knew you were coming? Vextor's laughter stopped. What do you mean? We've been listening to your communications for 70 years, Commander. We know about the Dominion. We know about your conquest patterns. We know about your technology. And we've been preparing. Impossible. If you had been aware of us, you would have attempted contact or tried to hide. Rodriguez chuckled. Why would we do either? Contact would have just moved up your timeline for invasion. Hiding would have only delayed the inevitable. No, Commander, we chose a third option. We got ready. Vextor studied his sensors again. Still nothing. Just one small ship and a planet with primitive technology. You are bluffing, trying to delay the inevitable with words. Am I? Tell me, Commander, what do your sensors show in the asteroid belt? Vextor gestured to his tactical officer, who began a deep scan of the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The officer's gelatinous form suddenly went rigid. "Commander, there are energy signatures. Thousands of them. But they're designed to look like background radiation unless specifically searched for." "On screen," Vextor commanded. The tactical display zoomed in on the asteroid belt. What had appeared to be ordinary space rocks suddenly revealed themselves to be something else entirely. Each asteroid had been hollowed out, converted into massive weapons platforms. But more disturbing was what lay between them. An energy field of some kind invisible to standard sensors, creating a barrier around the inner solar system. "Impressive, isn't it?" Rodriguez continued. 70 years of preparation, Commander. Every asteroid in the belt has been converted. But that's not the really interesting part. Have you checked behind you? Vextor spun around, his forearms moving to different control panels. The rear sensors showed empty space. Then his science officer adjusted the scanning frequency, and Vextor felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Fear. Behind his fleet, space itself seemed to shimmer. Thousands of objects materialized from nowhere. Not ships, but something else. Massive constructs that defied easy classification. Each one was the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons that didn't match any known configuration in Dominion databases. "Stealth technology?" Vextor whispered. "Not exactly," Rodriguez replied. "We call it dimensional phasing. Those constructs have been there the whole time, just slightly out of phase with normal space. We've been watching you since you entered the system. Actually, we've been watching you since you left your staging area 3 weeks ago. That's impossible. Our technology is 10,000 years old, Commander. Oh, you've refined it, perfected it, but you haven't truly innovated in millennia. Why would you? It works. You've conquered thousands of species with it. But humans? We went from horse-drawn carriages to nuclear weapons in less than a century. From first flight to landing on our moon in 66 years. What did you think we could accomplish with 70 years of focused preparation?" The tactical officer's form was quivering with panic. "Commander, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from Earth itself. The readings they don't make sense. The entire planet is generating a unified energy field." On the main screen, Earth began to change. The blue and green sphere seemed to pulse with inner light. Then sections of the continents began to move. What Vextor had taken for natural landmasses were revealed to be massive constructs, planet-sized weapons platforms built into the Earth's crust itself. "Every major city," Rodriguez explained, "is actually a disguised defense installation. Every mountain range hides underground military complexes. Every ocean conceals submarine fortresses. We turned our entire planet into a weapon, Commander. Want to know the funny part? We've been broadcasting fake radio signals for the last 50 years to make you think we were still primitive. The sports broadcasts, the entertainment shows, the political debates, all theater for your benefit." Vextor felt his crystalline structure resonate with disbelief. Why go to such lengths? "Because we studied your history, Commander. Every species you've conquered followed the same pattern. They developed technology at a normal pace. They expanded slowly and carefully. They revealed themselves to the galaxy, and they died. We decided to try something different." Humanity's grand revelation. The space around Vextor's fleet erupted into chaos without warning. Not the chaos of weapons fire or explosions, but something far more unsettling. Reality itself seemed to bend. His ships began reporting system failures that shouldn't be possible. Weapons that had functioned perfectly for millennia simply stopped working. Shield generators that had protected Dominion vessels for thousands of years flickered and died. "Report," Vextor commanded, his crystalline body flashing with agitation. "Commander," his chief engineer's rocky form ground out the words with difficulty. "The humans are using some kind of quantum field manipulation. They're literally rewriting the laws of physics in localized areas around our ships. Our technology is being fundamentally disrupted at the subatomic level." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through again, calm and professional. "We call it reality editing, Commander. Turns out when you have 70 years to prepare and an entire species of 8 billion people working toward a single goal, you can accomplish some interesting things. Every human scientist for 3 generations has been working on this moment." 8 billion? Vextor checked his files. "Our intelligence says your population is less than 1 billion. On the surface, yes. The other 7 billion live in underground cities we've been building since we first detected your empire. Did you really think we'd keep our entire population visible to orbital scanning? The tactical display showed more impossibilities. Human vessels were appearing throughout his fleet, not arriving through space but simply manifesting as if they had always been there. Each ship was unlike anything in Dominion records. They didn't seem to follow any consistent design philosophy. Some were sleek and angular, others were organic-looking, and still others appeared to be made entirely of energy. You see, Commander, Rodriguez continued, humans have this interesting trait. We're incredibly diverse in our thinking. Put 1,000 humans in a room with a problem, and you'll get 1,000 different solutions. The Dominion conquers species that think in unified, predictable patterns. But humans, we're chaos incarnate. Every one of those ships was designed by a different team with a different approach to combat. Your tactical computers can't predict our strategies because we don't have one unified strategy. Vexidor watched as his fleet tried to respond to the human attack, but it wasn't really an attack in any conventional sense. The humans weren't destroying his ships. They were doing something far worse. They were making them irrelevant. Weapons fire simply curved around human vessels. Dominion ships found themselves suddenly millions of kilometers from where they had been, separated from the fleet and surrounded by human constructs. Commander, his communications officer, a vaporous being from the Aurelius Nebula, whispered, "We're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy, from every Dominion world." "What kind of transmissions?" "Human transmissions, sir. They're already there, on every world we control." The main screen split into hundreds of smaller displays, each showing a different Dominion world. On everyone, human ambassadors were making simultaneous announcements to the local populations. The messages were all variations of the same theme. The Galactic Dominion's reign was ending. Not through conquest, but through obsolescence. Rodriguez's image appeared on the central screen. She was older than Vextor had imagined, with gray streaking through her dark hair and lines around her eyes that spoke of decades of preparation for this moment. "We've been among you for 50 years, Commander. Observers at first, then infiltrators, shape-shifting technology developed from studying your own member species. We learned your languages, your cultures, your weaknesses. But more importantly, we made friends." "Friends?" Vextor's voice cracked, his crystalline form developing stress fractures. "Every species you've conquered remembers freedom, Commander. They've just been waiting for someone to show them it was possible to fight back. We've been secretly supplying resistance groups with technology and training for decades. Right now, on every Dominion world, previously hidden human technology is being activated. Not weapons, but something far more dangerous: hope." The tactical officer's form was practically liquefied with terror. "Commander, we're receiving reports from across the Empire. Massive uprisings on every conquered world. The populations are using unknown technology to disable Dominion control systems. Our occupation forces are being overwhelmed without a shot being fired. The technology just makes our weapons stop working." Vextor felt his world crumbling. "How? How did you develop all this technology without us detecting it?" "Because we didn't develop it in normal space," Rodriguez smiled. "Humans discovered something interesting about reality, Commander. There are parallel dimensions, infinite variations of space-time. We built our research facilities in dimensions where time moves differently. A day here could be a year there. 70 years of real-time preparation became thousands of years of research and development in accelerated dimensions. We didn't just prepare for your arrival. We prepared for every possible scenario. This is impossible. No species can do this. No species you've encountered before. But humans are different, Commander. We're paranoid, creative, and incredibly stubborn. When we learned about the Dominion, we didn't see an unstoppable force. We saw a problem to be solved. And humans are very, very good at solving problems." The space around Earth began to shimmer. Vextor watched in horror as massive structures began emerging from dimensional rifts. Space stations the size of moons, shipyards that could construct entire fleets in days. Defense platforms that made the Dominion's greatest fortresses look like toys. "This is just what we built around Earth," Rodriguez said. "Would you like to know what we've built elsewhere?" The main screen changed to show the galaxy, but it wasn't the galaxy Vextor knew. Entire sectors he had thought empty were lighting up with human signatures. Hidden colonies in the void between stars, secret bases in the hearts of nebulae, massive constructs in dimensions parallel to normal space. "We call it the Hidden Empire," Rodriguez explained. 50,000 worlds, all invisible to your sensors, all connected by dimensional gateways that bypass normal space entirely. We've been building it for 70 years, Commander. An empire that exists alongside yours, occupying the same space but unreachable by conventional means. Vextor's tactical officer managed to reform enough to speak. Commander, our weapons are being disabled. All of them. The humans aren't firing on us, but our ships are being rendered helpless. Engine failures, life support fluctuations, even our communication systems are being selectively disrupted. We don't want to destroy you, Rodriguez said, her tone becoming serious. Despite everything, we don't believe in genocide. Every species deserves a chance to grow and change. The Dominion's age of conquest is over. Not because we're conquering you, but because we're making conquest itself obsolete. What do you want? Vextor asked, his voice barely a whisper. Simple. The immediate liberation of all conquered species. The dissolution of the Dominion as a conquering force. You can maintain your core worlds, your original territory, but the age of galactic empire is over. We're establishing a new order. Not a human empire, but a true galactic community, where each species is free to develop as they choose. And if we refuse? Rodriguez's expression grew sad. Then we'll demonstrate what happens when you truly anger humanity. So far we've been gentle. We've disabled your weapons, disrupted your systems, freed your conquered worlds. But Commander, we turned our entire solar system into a weapon. We've built doomsday devices that could unravel the fabric of space-time itself. We've developed viruses that target specific DNA sequences. We've created artificial intelligence that could infiltrate and destroy every computer system in your empire in seconds. Don't make us use them. The bridge of the Sovereign's pride fell silent. Vextor looked at his displays. 30,000 ships, the pride of the Dominion fleet, floating helpless in space. An empire of 10,000 years crumbling in a matter of hours. And it had all been accomplished without the humans firing a single shot in anger. How? He asked again, his voice broken. How did one primitive species do this? Rodriguez smiled, but it was tinged with sympathy. Because we're not primitive, Commander. We're just young, and young species still remember how to adapt, how to innovate, how to imagine impossible things and then make them real. The Dominion stopped growing 10,000 years ago. You perfected conquest and then stopped evolving. But humans, we never stop growing. We never stop learning, and we never ever stop preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. Captain. Vextor's form was barely holding together, stress fractures spreading throughout his crystalline body. What happens now? Now? Now you have a choice, Commander. Accept our terms and help us build something better, or resist and watch everything you've built disappear. Not through destruction, but through irrelevance. We've already shown the galaxy that the Dominion can be beaten. That knowledge alone has ended your empire. The question is whether you'll help build what comes next or be left behind by it. The tactical displays showed the truth of her words. Across the galaxy, Dominion control was evaporating, not through violent revolution, but through the simple realization that the conquered species no longer needed to fear their conquerors. Human technology was spreading like wildfire, defensive systems that made traditional warfare obsolete, medical technology that ended scarcity, dimensional gates that made faster-than-light travel unnecessary. You're not just defeating us, Vextor realized. You're making us obsolete. Not obsolete, Rodriguez corrected, just no longer necessary as conquerors. The Dominion has vast knowledge, incredible technology, rich culture. Imagine what you could accomplish if you used all that for creation instead of conquest. We're not destroying the Dominion, Commander. We're offering you evolution. As Vextor considered humanity's terms, he couldn't help but marvel at what this young species had accomplished. They hadn't just prepared for war. They had prepared for peace. They had built weapons so powerful they never needed to use them. They had created an empire so hidden it could emerge fully formed when needed, and they had done it all while pretending to be primitive, broadcasting fake signals while they built wonders in the shadows. The Galactic Dominion had attacked Earth expecting to find primitives. Instead, they had found a species that had turned paranoia into an art form, preparation into a science, and imagination into the ultimate weapon. The age of conquest was indeed over. Ended not by a greater conqueror, but by a species that had made conquest itself pointless. As his fleet powered down their weapons and prepared to accept humanity's terms, Commander Vextor had one last question. Captain Rodriguez, when did humanity decide to do all this? Rodriguez grinned. The moment we realized we weren't alone in the universe, Commander. We looked at the stars, saw what was out there, and said, well, we better get ready. Because that's what humans do. We prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and always have a backup plan. Welcome to the new Galactic Order, Commander. I think you're going to find it much more interesting than the old one.